So we're gonna try to finish Empire Satanis with a little bit of luck. So we skipped a little bit ahead, not by much. It's just we skipped past the possible scenarios because any GM worth of shit should be able to come up with their own. To a very fitting what else to say. I'm Adam, and I'm just going to let the subtitle just tell you everything.
I'm Owl Bastard Unicorn, and you know what?
What?
That jack hits the spot.
Oh, you're already drinking.
I'm the Diopsid, and I can't wait to get this whole thing over with.
I am Mrs. Diopsid, and I actually have a headset coming on the way. Hopefully, it's probably going to be delayed a little bit, but it's on its way. Hopefully, my quality will probably improve after I get it. Sorry if my sound quality isn't that good.
And I'm Randall, and, well, what else to say?
Might as well just get into it because with luck we'll finish this. This game is yours. Do with it as you will. Empire of Satanis can be taken in many different directions, from hack and slash to investigative storytelling. With the lack of everything you kind of need for, well, maybe for hack and slash, but for investigation, I'm pressing X. We can't really do much. You didn't even explain how your currency worked. You're fucked.
The only thing you'll be investigating with these mechanics is the offices of various tentacle huggers.
You joke now, but I have such sights to show you.
Oh yeah, I've read ahead.
To me, the genre and setting are most important. Character creation is next, followed by role mechanics. I tried to...
We can see that. Rules are only the third most important thing.
I mean, a lot of systems kind of have that priority. It's just, how much do you put into it is the question. There's a lot of games that are rules light, and those work.
You at least want to put enough in to make sure you aren't literally just playing pretend.
And that's the problem.
Great example, obviously, a great example of rules like games are the World of Darkness. That's a fantastic example of such type of systems if you like to play.
It's not technically rules light. There are a lot of rules, but Rhesus is a really good one for like a simple, really very simplified RPG.
And who can forget Everyone is John?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely perfect if you want something really rules light and it's just a one-off.
Yes, and it's a fun game you can play with. It's a fun game you can play with friends. Also, another game that's rules light is playing. If you're able to play, what is the game where you're playing Village, where it's everyone's playing as the village and you're trying to find out who's the killer and what.
Mafia?
Yes, Mafia.
Oh, yeah,
Mafia is a perfect example of a rules light game.
I tried to create an RPG that is realistic. Really?
You don't say.
What is it with bad RPGs and realistic?
I think it's like a tagline. It's kind of like how pet food companies have to legally define how much of their product is meat, and if it has something like seafood dinner, it's like 2% meat. But and while remaining fantastic, as in fantasy, except for the lightsabers, I just wanted to put them in there because the lightsabers are cool. Time has been taken to balance things out so that power gamers don't overshadow anyone else. Thank you, lightsabers, Candyland, and Nightmare Tech, and all the myriad skills. I'm still fucking bitter about Nightmare Tech not being what it is. GM is, let the PC is be overpowered and near almighty. Most games...
Yeah, he's using possessive, but it should be plural.
Good writing.
Most games allow characters to have a moderate amount of power after months of gaming. I guess he's never played a wizard in D&D, huh? EOS delivers the goods almost immediately. The PC will get a little out of hand, and might seem like minor gods. When it's not God himself, you don't capitalize the G, because that is the proper whatever. On some backwater human world. That's okay. Feel free to throw a monkey wrench in every now and again, but try to resist the temptation to keep the characters in their place. Empire of Satanis is about freedom and living large, and also about weirdness and horror.
That's
He's got the weird down, but I'm not really feeling horror.
I mean,
The real horror is that you're playing Empire Satanist. That's the real horror, that you're reduced to that.
Yeah, his horror is all his, like, him, like, pretty much throwing in all his disgusting fetishes into this robot.
No, the real horror is an idea of Princess in Flame and Alpha Blue crossover game.
Oh yeah, he said that on his Twitter.
Oh no!
Two sex games in one as a crossover. That is true horror.
He's not really. He's kind of going insane, like, dealing with 5 kids, like, all, like, out of school due to the coronavirus right now. He's kind of going insane on Twitter.
Darrick, if I had to deal with 5 girls,
No, 2 of them are boys.
If I had to deal with 5 children, I kind of would go insane. My mom went insane when she had to deal with 5 kids. But how many are technically fully legitimately his? That's the question.
I don't know. Like, I think his 3 girls look kind of the most like him. I haven't seen his 2 sons, but I'm not sure. It could be either way. I just know that, like, they're definitely not, like, half black, at least. So
we're speculating because Darrick's openly admitted he's polyamorous, which you can interpret it one of 2 ways. Either it's a way to cheat without feeling bad, or you're a cuck and enjoy watching.
Yeah, so I don't know, but, like, I just wonder what his wife thinks of all this. Like, I just, like, with all his, like, weird fetishes and stuff, like, is she into this, or, like, is she not?
All I know is that she's probably sick of his shit since he's just busy tweeting on his phone all day, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, it seems like, based on, like, the timeline, like, because I did, like, look through the archives of his, like, old website, and, like, it seems like, it was kind of a shotgun wedding. Like, she got like pregnant, like, right before they got engaged.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Oh no!
Actually, no, I now feel kind of bad.
Yeah.
Okay, let's to get out of feeling bad, let's continue, or else we're gonna be here all fucking night. So that's okay. Feel free. We already read that, but try to resist the temptation to keep the. Okay. If a PC wants to do something beyond his ability or the scope of this game, but it fits in with the unsettling paradigm you're looking for, wrong you are, by the way. Then for Satanis' sake, let it happen. So it operates on rule of cool, but not like Cyberpunk, where it's actually cool. This universe could use more creative minds, so anyone that wants to build upon the setting I've created, let me know. Please take this work off my hands. It was hard enough just writing this one day.
Please.
They'll literally pay you to take it off his hands.
Please, I don't want it.
You know what this feels like? This feels like as sad as the begging for trying to sell the game on Hong Kong 97. You know, like where he's trying to beg, like, please, stores, do you want to sell this game?
This feels more like a Bad Rat scenario where they just give it away for free.
Alternatively, it could be one of those situations where he's literally begging people to flesh it out for him because he's lazy.
I'm thinking that. Perhaps you could write a supplement on a specific region or write an adventure? New Empire of Satanis material can be found on this website.
it's defunct, but you can access it on Wayback Machine. It's all about his like crazy cult. He kind of deleted it after his cult failed, but you can find it on Wayback Machine. I've tried it.
Oh man, deleting your cult's website. I mean, Heaven's Gate didn't do that. They're still up.
Yeah.
So let me know how the game works for you. I like feedback. This is not just a game. For the fiends that dwell in Cathana, this is their reality. Tread wisely and use your sorcery well! Exclamation mark.
This is like one of those forwards that should be at the front of the book. Like, hello, this is me introducing myself to, this is who I am and this is my creation. Thank you. So this is like, this is like one of those sappy congratulations for purchasing this product and like, trying to introduce you. Why is this in the middle of in writing this? It's so.
It's almost
Well-
like he wrote it in his first draft and then he didn't go back to look at it.
Okay, here's my thought. This was originally where the game would end, and then he just added a bunch of extra shit on the behind it.
I'm just envisioning him having a copy of the player's handbook open, and he's like, oh shit, I have to explain how game mastering works, because not everyone knows how to DM a game. Oh no, and he's like looking at all the stuff he's missing, and he's just desperately typing it right now.
As we are about to see.
So, invaluable assistance was provided by my two chief playtesters, so there actually was playtesting. That actually surprises me a little bit. So kudos to you two guys. Thanks, guys. You made this game more oblique, hyper extended, and resolute. Those are all words I would not use to describe a book, but hey, that's just me. The guys from The Forge helped with good advice too, so thanks these two. And do you really want to learn how to DM from a guy that seems to have trouble just writing the book?
Mm,
Because I don't mind skipping
probably
this.
not.
Okay, skipping. Cathana. Yeah, might as well. If Yggdrasil, a small enclosed universe, was as large as our Milky Way galaxy, then Cathana would be the size of the United States. What? The mighty
What?
metropolis of Friere would be the size of Wisconsin. The realm of crimson chaos, such as a strange dimensional realm, sometimes are brighter, others darker, but dusk seems to hang for hours between these states. I think language itself broke down when I just read that. Because I did not gain a hint of understanding of what the fuck I just read.
It's never sunny, so it's the opposite of Philadelphia. Occasionally pitch black, and frequently just a continual haze of crimson twilight. And every so often a thick fog rolls in. Okay.
Oh look, he has a small bestiary. It's that short. Oh.
Very short and like undescriptive, and there's like no stats for them or anything.
He also spelled marauding wrong. Marauding jellies.
Gelatinous, amorphous. Aren't those okay? And translucent entities whose touch is paralyzing to fiends. They are thoroughly resistant to magic. Okay.
And then there's others like the bloody leviathans. Those are just giant squids. Just I guess use the kraken from D&D, and there you go.
Zunda ape creatures. Ferocious, rampaging beasts who live in the wilds. Like Tasmanian devils on Earth, they are constantly in a state of agitation and hostility.
Isn't that the creatures that formed the weird caveman race?
Maybe.
Because I seem to remember in the first episode something about Darrick explaining how one of the potential races that you made is the result of another demon fucking an ape creature. The The crimson god Satanis. The obnoxious aroma of heroic corpses wafts from his torture chamber. We, the Brotherhood, peer at him with hungry, verdant, blood-filled, lidless eyes. There's too many adjectives in that sentence. The residents of Yidjathoth know the strength and power of Satanis the Crimson God. I guess Darrick finally has committed to him being the Crimson God rather than the Black God. It is all-consuming and omnipresent. Nevertheless, the Brotherhood does not bow and scrape before his unwholesome, apocalyptic imminence. He has his dictionary right there, just desperately looking for words.
Let's see. Antediluvian, that's a good one. Icolate, that's one.
Mutilating, that's a great one.
Yeah, squeamious, perfect.
The alien, demonic races that have been chosen by him approach as his brother and friend. Satanis belongs to a race of antediluvian gods who are so singularly indefinable and alien to our understanding, our consciousness and our world, that they are beyond us in every conceivable way. This is Lovecraftian writing in the worst way possible. They are gruesome in their wisdom. Their hideous truth is unbearable to all but the most strong-willed individuals. Satanis is akin to the octopoidal monstrosity that dreams in deathless sleep, dread Cthulhu.
Uh-oh. Crossover.
Yeah, I wrote this, see, in the Lovecraft universe, it's Satanis. He is Cthulhu's brother. They, and a few others we are distantly aware of, are the Old Ones who have existed before time and space, even though I seem to recall the Old Ones not existing for... The first thing that I seem to recall that existed was Azathoth, so he doesn't even remember his lore right. Amazing. Their consciousness is an...
Don't get off his back. He had like a whole 6-pack when he was writing this.
I don't know if he drinks, but we do know he takes mushrooms and weed. Again,
Yeah.
You'll see why I know this ahead of time. Their consciousness is enmeshed in an unspeakable paradigm that sees through the universe and melts the concreteness of reality with bizarre cerebral vibrations, burning it like a midnight sun. The new gods are those who have such a prominent will, such a powerful sense of self, direction, and insight into the dark way, that they have risen to the pantheon of horrific malignancy.
That's a fucking black metal album title.
Horrific
Pantheon of horrific.
Yep. Currently going to be released by the Black Satans, the very popular Finnish band that is totally not a bunch of band members shitposting and pretending that they're black metal.
Oh no, we are totally black metal. We're totally like Scandinavian black metal.
They're blasphemous divinities such as Aldragua, the Life Drinker, Darrick of Krong of the Hideous Twilight, and Leedra Rive, the Insect God, leprous and discordant. Even now, the fiend monarchs are poised on the edge of ascension, ready to join Satanis and stand beside his almighty throne. Well, last I checked, they were already that. Also, wasn't one of them older than Satanis, the Twilight God that has the contrarian zebra men or whatever the fuck they were?
I think they were like trees or frogs or something.
No, they're
I don't
made by
know.
something else. They're made by him too.
The thing, I like the fact that Satanis is just this unstable shit, this absolutely unstable shithole, and is the intention that it's supposed to be the meme-tastic shit.
No, I think it's him copying the warp, like he's using Warhammer 40k, like you mentioned in the previous episode, and he's like trying to compare it with Lovecraft's works, and he's trying to fuse them together, and it's just kind of not working.
It's Lovecraft sludge.
Yeah, it's very much the consistency of a Shoggoth, which is to say, not at all. Do we really want to read about that backstory he came up with like way back in the beginning, but like even longer?
Oh God.
Oh no.
No.
I'll sum it up. Blah 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 blah. Darkness. Blah 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 blah. Persecuted intellect. Blah blah blah. Whoa, I'm too smart for the world. Blah 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 blah. Nishi. Blah 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 blah. blah Satanis.
You know, the best part is there is a couple of sentences where he tries to explain Nietzsche to the reader. But that's a pretty good summary. Basically, a bunch of losers decided to teleport to this dark dimension and essentially become the pay pigs of Satanis and just run this horrible bootleg of hell that you would probably see in a dollar store. And they're totally going to destroy the normals and rise up. So let's skip that and get into the city of Friere. Friere, the largest city in the realm of Cathana, upholding ideals that are cosmopolitan, progressive, liberal, intolerant, in a framework that is nihilistic, decadent, draconian, xenophobic, brutal, and ancient. Wait, is the mayor of Friere Movie Bob?
There's your once an episode Movie Bob reference.
I'm sorry, it's just he uses the word cosmopolitan so often that it just kind of reminds me of him.
I can't hear that word without that word. Cosmopolitan has forever been poisoned for me.
There's a couple of words when I think of Movie Bob. Cosmopolitan, and that's not what he is because he's a suburban boy. And then there's also superior. That's kind of been tainted a bit too because he uses it so often.
Wasteland Ghoul.
A Mayo Ghoul is also a pretty common one for him, but those are lesser. Kind of like how this work is a lesser than anything that was made by Lovecraft's fellow writers or himself. Ah, Friere. Cathana intensified. It has immediately shifted into story mode now. Like the first couple of sentences is describing the city, and then it immediately goes into sort of a story-like mode. What the fuck? Ah, Friere. Cathana
my
intensified.
six-pack theory.
What now?
I stand by my six-pack theory.
Yeah, it might be. I still think I'll show you why. It gets bad. Where the rain lightly falls, gently tapping upon the crooked window panes, above the rest of the world, squatting awkwardly on a mesa like a jeweled dagger about to slip off a velvet pillow.
What?
That is some amazingly bad purple prose.
Yeah, that's like terrible purple prose. I have nothing to say.
So it's sitting on a mesa. It's sitting on a butt. I know you pronounce it butte, but it's a butt.
Oh.
Many-tiered, never wholly envisaged or understood, Friere. It is the fashion to habitually wear black cloaks over fanciful, multi-hued peacock frock coats.
How does this color scheme even make any sense?
This makes the Star Trek lizardman race we came up with look like fashion gurus, and their whole shtick is wearing as many colors as they frickin' can.
The whole stick of them is that it's supposed to be. It's deliberately supposed to be gaudy and.
Oh man, that's just black cloaks over essentially a nobleman's outfit because they're wearing a frock and petticoat. So you have the frock and petticoat, so you're already wearing 2 layers of clothing, and then the fucking cloak.
Damn, I'd be like sweltering in like heat. Like imagine
would be
if
dead.
this is like summer out. Like I'd be sweating bullets.
The thing is, I don't think they have deodorant, so they would probably all smell horrible. They probably smell horrible.
God, yeah, that's like. I mean, that's just like a fashion disaster waiting to happen.
I will give Darrick this. At least they're not wearing dusters and trilbies.
The cloak's pushing it. The question, though, is if with Satanis is like, if you don't have to be a part of a cult anymore, so why do we have to wear cult-like attire?
Oh god, wait. Okay, so they're wearing black cloaks over fanciful, multi-hued peacock. This is a guy in a My Little Pony t-shirt wearing a trench coat.
Damn.
This is how I'm imagining all demons from now on. Dressed up like a fat neckbeard 2011.
Some of them have Jimmy Neutron heads and bat wings. Some have snake arms and are like breast stroking through the air like it's water. 1 or 2 of them are just covered in slime and look like a booger with a crab claw. The dual expressions, somber and dramatic. That is the city of life! Random exclamation mark. An overgrown garden of the perverse that blooms by the constant dark droning that no one can identify, much less pinpoint. An obligatory hum as if some generator lived only a few streets away.
So what? The Talos hum? Like there's just some weird phenomena called the Talos hum, where like people report weird ass indistinct humming noise in the background. So I think Darrick heard of that.
Oh, so that's what sometimes I'll randomly hear. It's almost like a lawnmower going. So that might be it. Friere is the city of last fashion. Never the same play twice. Never the same people met. Only not familiar, only strange. A new artistic movement every month. A new philosophy every day. Modes of being rise and fall like the crests and troughs of a blood-slicked sea. There are shops for everything, guilds for nothing in particular. Citizens of Friere desperately grip anything that might suddenly become a stabilizing force, a railing to grasp as they begin to fall down a long flight of badly lit stairs. You know, I've read about a setting that does that much better. It's called Warhammer 40K, and this feels like the planet of the sorcerers that the Thousand Suns hang out at. Although the Thousand Suns did it a lot better. The streets are lit.
I mean, let's be honest. Nobody's giving Darrick credit for originality.
Oh, I think some of you might actually be able to see what the next subtitle is. I hope. Just feel free to die. The streets are lit by gaslight. They're absinthe green illumination, so I guess maybe he is slamming down a six-pack of absinthe.
Ooh.
Illumination fading before the next wrought iron light pole appears. High society wears the ostentatious wigs in the scheme of pink, purple, scarlet, chartreuse, and flame.
Gross, it's like danger here.
And I do like how Darrick proves he does not know the history of Paris with this next sentence. Think 18th century Paris, France on LSD. For those of you who are not history spurgs, Paris was a fucking shithole until the 19th century. To give you an idea, it was such a slum that the kings of France built Versailles precisely because they were tired of the mob ruling them from the streets and from the fact that Paris stank of shit. It really wasn't until some German architect basically reworked the entire major roadways of France, namely Paris.
Well, maybe that's exactly what he means. It's a city of putrid, stinking shit, and every so often somebody gets dragged off to the guillotine.
So this is Paris. This is
Modern day Paris.
It's a shithole. So, like, maybe he wants it to be a shit. Maybe that's the whole point. It is a shithole.
Amadeus Reinhardt, the avatar of excess. I guess we have random Slaneshi cultists in here too. Who presides over the inner city's Mardi Gras atmosphere, smiles upon his subjects. Tonight is like any other night in Friere, a madman's paradise. Look up as you enter the city of life. You will see above the gates a grand sculpture of two masks. One is laughing, the other is most certainly not. Because of course he has to use the comedy and tragedy masks.
Look at the next paragraph.
The viewers saw it, but you guys have to now. Tentacled whores.
Oh boy.
An entire segment on this.
Why?
Better read it or you're gonna be purred, says Darrick, covered in green slime.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'll take one for the team. Tentacled whores. Once there was a prostitute on Blow Street.
Blow Street? Like, really? Is that what they call it?
Rather on the nose. She refused a very prominent mage her girlish attention. The mage fervently courted her until she acquiesced. Okay, Darrick, we don't need to hear about you harassing streetwalkers. The prostitute.
Is this how he met his wife?
You know, the bad thing was I was thinking that. I just didn't want to say it.
The prostitute and the mage began a relationship. However, the wizard demanded that she keep her street walking. It's a pimp wizard.
No, you were right. You were right, Mrs. Diopsid. This is how he met his wife.
Things progressed, and the night before their wedding, she invited a client back to their abode. She used her succulent hands to massage her client in front of her husband to breathe. Oh my god!
Darrick is a cuck. Rubbing himself in slime cuck. Flubber sexual awakening cuck.
Her betrothed decided at that moment the nature of his long-standing revenge for her refusal in those early days. The mage forced her client to saw off her hand while he watched and prepared a spell, magically replacing her hands with soft green tentacles. He felt satisfied with the way of things.
This wasn't revenge.
After they had married, the novelty caught on amongst those in the black courts, and from then on, all prostitutes were forced to bear tentacles instead of hands.
No.
In the last few decades, the cosmetic and magical alteration has included the forearm as well as the hands. Tentacophilia is now one of the. So it's just Japan.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Darrick.
I think that's my newest nightmare. Chris Fields and Darrick Deshaw teaming up together to write a book.
Oh no.
Thanks, I hate it.
Satanis does Tokyo.
Is that a possible title for that episode?
Nah, I promised the Diopsid that I would use Flubber was a sexual awakening.
Okay, well that's a runner-up.
Oh, lifestyles up for you. Coffins. Just about every fiend sleeps in a coffin.
Fucking, what are these assholes? Count Chocula?
I think there's a perfect description if you live in this universe. Existence in this universe is like a roller coaster into your grave. You just want it to end. These places of rest are often personalized to reflect the aesthetics of their owner. Some are candy cane striped with irregular curves and waves. Others are angular trapezoids, shiny and black. While another might be a heavy, ornate, rectangular metal monstrosity. Coffins protect the sleeper from visitors when Katana is most light. What?
So they are Count Choculas.
It also allows one to not be affected by any sort of magic while away from the waking world. All coffins are imbued with a magic-resistant field for their protection. So that just means you dump them into acid easier while they sleep. A holographic world. Fiends can affect the Yggdrasil universe a lot less easily than Shala. That's the normal universe for our viewers that actually still care. Which is not a lot. I understand that. Yggdrasil is home to gods of wizardry and chaos, divinities who manipulated reality from the very beginning of their design. They and their spawn have become relatively immune to magic. Normal universe, on the other hand, is a universe of technology, science, and the concrete laws of physics, all of them that Darrick do not understand. Because mankind and various races of their universe have never truly embraced sorcery, the laws of normal land have no immunity. Humanity is entrenched in logic which leads them extremely vulnerable to dark arcane of any kind. Magic still works wonderfully for fiends who cross over into what the... Why did you subtitle this a holographic world?
I don't know. Because the real world is a hologram of my fantasy world. Let's go play mazes and monsters in the steam tunnels. Whoop 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 whoop. I'm gonna murder a homeless man because he's really an orc. Whoop 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 whoop.
Derek DeShaw found dead as a meat patty as the 11 o'clock Big Am Express slammed at maximum velocity into his naked flesh.
That's what his character would have done. Let's just say that.
The Nuremberg defense of D&D.
The subway train was slightly dented in the accident. So, yeah, anyway. Normal land fiends stay around humans permanently as warlords or demigods. Sounds pretty boring, but whatever. Religion. Fiends pray, or should I say pray, by being successful in life. It's pretty groan-worthy. A personal success for a dirge, those are the, I think, the conspiracy theory dwarves that live in bunkers, is the divine success for Satanis. Certain rituals are observed depending on the season or the need, but abstract worship is valued little compared to real-world efforts, basically Darrick explaining his horrible cult and why it failed. Because he basically gave no shits about having a ritual or routine. The gods live with fiends in their cities. They can simply visit their temples, converse with them, and carry out their God is favor. By the way, he's still capitalizing God, which you don't do if there's more than one. That is devotion. Oh boy, entertainment. This is what I've been hinting at. There are many forms of liberty. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, let's look at all of Darrick's fetishes.
These are... You spoiled it. There are 8 examples of entertainment, and 4 of them involve sex.
Oh. So there's no demon pinball machine.
There is no movie theater or, like, acting theater where you can go up to the stage and murder the actors.
There's no devil casino. I want to go to the devil casino.
There is a casino area. There is a gambling section.
So, is there, like... Can I go to a concert?
Can I go fly? Can I do things like fly?
We'll find out. Let's
What
read
about
this out.
amusement park? I want to go on like a roller coaster.
Amusement parks do not exist in this reality. Now let's talk about the many disgusting forms of fetishes that Darrick has, because that's all he fucking writes about now. There are many forms of liberty and vice in Cathana, especially in the city of Freer. And the place for entertainment in Freer is the Greenlight District, where green flame lamps that light the whole vile section of the city. Oh, he forgot to put the word stand. So it's incomplete. Or it was, and I just missed it. The writing is starting to affect my judgment. Flesh hook girls. Naked girls hanging from flesh hooks attached to chains. These girls randomly pierce parts of their body for the satisfaction of the onlooker in hopes that a few zerkas are thrown their way. Gold pieces.
So, literally the bad guy from The Cell.
Pretty much. Fetish chambers. Subterranean rooms where every sexual kink is explored.
Oh god. Furries!
Just open a door and it's just filled with tapioca, and you see this horribly obese, like, lizard thing go, "Come on in, it's warm and delicious."
Well, remember, they're not... Go ahead.
Like, you actually remember, like, I saw that episode of the Scaly. I remember you guys actually missed the story of the Scaly, and, like, how he, like, raped hookers.
Oh, well, he mind-controlled them.
But that's right!
I know.
And that's what we tried to explain to him, but he didn't listen.
It gets better, because the only reason he changed his story was because there was a paladin in the party that is obligated to stop evil. That the paladin had such low standards on what was evil did not occur to him.
But notice that they say chambers, not room. So I'm only assuming these are like porta-johns with a guy in a fursuit in them.
I'm expecting, like, they just go in the sewers like the weirdos they are. Or maybe since this is a bootleg of Paris, maybe they're going into the catacombs to do horrible things. Of course, S&M parlors, short for sadism and masochism, because Darrick has to fucking explain that to you.
Yeah.
These clubs are for patrons who like to play games involving pain and pleasure. Burlesque palaces, stripping establishments with stages and poles for exotic dancers.
God. It's a fucking strip joint, you idiot.
Yeah, it's
Like-
not burlesque. Burlesque is more classier as far as, like, stuff goes.
Burlesque
In
is
fact,
for
a
the
lot of
classy
burlesque-
stripper.
In fact, I know a lot of burlesque dancers hate being called strippers. Like, just saying.
Okay.
There is some. People could argue that there's some.
There are some
cultural,
commonalities, but we know that Darrick has never been to a burlesque place.
Yeah.
Okay, thank goodness. There's no more porn. For now. There's more. I predict there will be more later. Starlight, a non-addictive drug that feels intensely good, although people around the victim of this drug can change the physical structure of that person? Okay, let's continue. With the thought of direct will, someone can make the Starlight user into a snake, a chair, or some amorphous horror. This is a psychoactive drug like LSD. It's collected from particles left behind a star shower. Every once in a while, there have been some accidents where the drug user is stuck in the last form taken as the drug wears off. Pushers are infrequent, but they can be found. So, it's reverse to LSD, where the people around you can hallucinate you into new forms. What?
What?
I like that.
When you're high on it, you basically turn into Play-Doh.
Interesting.
Not gonna lie, that sounds that kind of sounds fun, but also it could lead you to actually believing that you're a glass of orange juice for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's too tame. This is Darrick. He'd probably be like, no, he's gonna give you giant green boobs that lactate green slime.
Oh no.
So, okay, that's one drug. What's the other entertainments? Come on, we don't even have, like, demon baseball games. Come on. The maj pipe, a long glass pipe that is heated by the warmth of one's hands. It is used to smoke a crumbling substance not unlike brown sugar. Fucking hookah. It's a fucking hookah or a bong.
Yeah, pretty much.
However, one is completely in touch with one's physical and mental capabilities. The imbiber gets flashes of wakefulness and glimpses of the universe's unity. No, Darrick, getting high does not lead to spiritual enlightenment.
So, in his
Yeah.
brain, what, does he, like, does he fucking crossfade with weed and LSD?
Like, I wonder what his, many high ideas are, like the ideas he gets when he gets high.
Oh, God.
This game is one of the examples.
This game is what happens when Darrick drinks, like, a 6-pack of absinthe. Like 6 shots of absinthe. Smokes a bong and then takes some magic mushrooms. In that order, I think.
Yeah, that old saying, write drunk and edit sober? Well, I think he just wrote drunk and didn't edit sober at all.
Or maybe he wrote drunk and edited while baked out of his mind.
Yeah, true.
Oh, hey, actual venues of entertainment. Finally, some stuff of culture. The Theater of the Insane, a performance art movement that took up residence in a very old theater hall. This is where the conservative and the well-to-do mingle with the young and brash. The insanity is performed as different every week. Always surreal, always mostly unrehearsed, and it's occasionally poignant. So it's not theater. It's like him not describing what insanity means.
No, I got it. They just shove a bunch of mental patients out onto the floor and they all throw tomatoes at them.
That would be great. If they actually, if it was explained as that would be funny. That would be like a little thing you could do. Or maybe they just get random homeless people or hookers and just have them fight to the death. Like they just lace them with LSD and they just like give them knives and then say the one that kills the evil chicken on the other side wins.
So what is this bum? What the hell is this? Is this the more evil version of bum fights?
I mean, this is a society of demons. Why not?
They just drag Francis E. Deck's soul out of hell and have him just rant at the audience for an hour.
I could see that. Like, it's just the theater of the insane. They get like a lunatic to just like explain his manifesto. like used Bible in one hand, gun in the other, pants around his ankles, eyes fucking crossed because they made sure to give him mushrooms before he started ranting. That would be great, but that is not what's explained in here because he put much less effort than he did on the drugs and even much less effort on the part where, you give tentacles to hookers. Also, there's gambling. There's always been games of chance in a world ruled by magic. Not cards, not dice, but centipedes? Okay, let's see where this goes. Black centipedes as big as your arm are thrown on a victim, and people bet on the survival of the fiend. The centipedes chew on the demon until they've eaten all his flesh. Really?
So
Okay.
it's just an edgier cockfight.
So it's like what I said with the hookers. At least that idea would be funnier. Like, you just go into a random casino hall and you just see a bunch of hookers like stabbing each other with knives and they're completely cracked out of their minds. Maybe have like a game of chance with with like a crazy, like, you know how you can have a slot machine. Maybe have like an intelligent slot machine made by Nightmare Technology, which is like most like has a human brain, and it's like it has, you have to win against it or it will electrocute you to death. Roulette, where the roulette balls, if you land on the number you call, actually flies up out of the roulette table and shoots at you at maximum velocity.
Oh, I got one. Poker, but where you bet on the number of fingers you cut off.
Blackjack, but the idea is you cannot get electrocuted more than 21 milliamps or your heart just stops. And like, each card drawn determines the increase in electricity that goes through you.
Also, I could think of one where it's the idea is bloodjack, where getting red cards is actually, you can play it. It's like blackjack, but a bit different, where red numbers are plus and minus 21, and it could, depending on going above 21 or under negative 21 one way, too much in the other, might lead to bad consequences.
And last but not least, hey, how about just a game of Blood Bowl?
Nice and classic. Can't.
The Asylum of Satanis. The Asylum of Satanis is a black monolithic tower of smooth, cold marble. This edifice contains the discarded creations of Fiend Society. When something has been created by dark and strange forces, it needs somewhere to go. So it's a dump.
Much like this printout.
Yeah, the mental health care system is kind of shit in here. Why am I not surprised?
Basically, if you make an item that is shit, you just shove it in this dump.
It's next to the living pile of tumors that I created, and the man I mind raped into believing he's a glass of orange juice.
Yeah, it does lead to creatures, people, ideas, realities, dimensions, times, distortions, parallels, dreams, and fantasies.
Huh.
Okay. Soul trade. I'm just going to skip through that a bit. Soul trade. Most civilizations conquered by the infernal citizens of Cathana are slain outright. There are some whose heart and minds can be turned to evil that change the moment that the Yidithroth invade their land. These people, once considered outsiders among their own kind, have assimilated into the Brotherhood. Basically, if you're a weird enough human being and you hate the normies hard enough, you can be taken to a magical land where there is nothing but tentacled hookers and fucking torture chambers filled with tapioca and obese lizard people.
So yeah, this entire manifesto is basically Darrick's high school fantasies.
Honestly, if I was in that fucking state of mind, I'd just take the bullet now. So where was I? Something. You know that meme where it's like you look through the noose and it takes you to Equestria? That's what I'm envisioning here. Every once in a while, there are defeated individuals who did not change and did not win the war to halt evil. These mortals are kept for study as a pet or to steal their soul. The soul is coaxed out and then put into an object such as a precious jewel. Sometimes the soul is kept in a jar. Perhaps transferred into a partial birth fetus, which has lived in the jar already? Question mark.
What? Well, okay. I guess we know that Darrick is pro-life.
Or maybe if his wife ever miscarried, he'd fucking preserve the abortion.
Well, I know. Yeah, he definitely is pro-life. He had 5 fucking kids. That was probably unintended. I know for a fact.
I think it's just he can't bother to fucking wear a condom.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, or he doesn't know how to put one on, and he just keeps breaking.
Or maybe he just thinks, if I cover myself up in enough slime, it'll get stuck in there.
Yeah, or maybe like, I don't know.
I mean, there's always the simplest option. They just don't make condoms small enough.
Dang.
Unorthodox fiends who practice the art of puppet magic might enhance their living puppets with a life force of its own, completely distinct from the wizard who created the puppet. Needless to say, the soul trade's a big business. The extraction alone necessitates a voodoo warlock. I know it's pronounced Vodun, but fuck it. Voodoo warlock, along with many hours in the ritual chamber. The monstrous citizens of Friere do not like to see weak mortal spirit or flesh around the city. The nature of such innate goodness is revolting to them. Alternative magics, fetishes, and spells. I hope.
Like, dude,
Oh
does it mean like
boy.
what a fetish originally meant, or is it like the sexual meaning?
You know what he means.
Oh,
I'm hoping
yeah.
that it's the original meaning, but I fucking expect
I
it to
think
be
it's.
the new.
I can't look at it the other way. It has to. It just. All I can think of is sexual fetishes.
I have the resigned stare of a man who's about to be sent to the National Razor. Okay, let's do this. There are many facets to the dark sorcery used by fiends. Some have intentionally been left blank for the GM to adapt later if they wish. Sigils. Sigils are symbols infused with the magician's will as well as a specific function. Basically it's a graffiti piece of, it's a bit of graffiti that a wizard can do stuff with. The black mirror. This is made from a piece of glass painted black on one side. Once dry, it is put into a frame and is ready for gazing into the black reflecting void to see into other universes or the magician's inner universe. Colorless geometry creates an anti-color sphere zone. I guess it's like an anti-magic zone. Voodoo, taking body parts from people and then using them to torture someone from a distance. So he only knows the voodoo doll ritual. What? Okay, I guess you can't even be fucked to do your basic occult research. Palette, Facade, Chaos, Amulet, Magic, Tomb Spawn, Inscrutable Enigma. These are to be embellished by the player. He just gave up. He gave up after like 4, and he stopped caring about formatting after the second one. Hey, at least on the bright side, he didn't describe more fetishes he has.
That's
Rules clarification.
Wrong.
Do we even want to read the clarifications?
No.
no.
Do you want to read the fiction?
Uh,
I'm gonna take that as a no too, because I don't. More stories. Friday night horror show into adventures. Fuck this. Fuck it. Did we finish? Oh my god, did we finish?
I think so. Unless we want to read through his angry curse at negative reviews of the game.
Okay, he has a couple character examples. That's okay, and like a character. We're done.
Done. Fucking done with this shit.
okay. Huzzah!
So,
Yeah, stick a fork because
oh god, you cut out there. So, what? So, what are y'all's ratings of Empire Satanis?
Refresh the viewers on what the levels are, and me, because I always forget. Okay, it doesn't earn any of the special ratings. I do remember Room. It is not a Wasel. It is
Yeah,
not deep hurting, although we acted like it near the end, but that's just because, holy shit, we're so happy that it ended early. Which does take it out of decent for me. I would argue it's playable since there's just enough mechanics to kind of get a session going, but it's so first draft in the sense that he really did not want to bother fleshing out this world or its systems or thinking about it, that you can kind of only just do the basics.
it's all filled with half-baked ideas is one of its biggest.
That's one of it. The other is his fetishes began heavily leaking into it at the end.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rate a recycle bin out of 10 because now I can delete the PDF and then I think the recycle bin does even more job.
all right. So what I'm getting is a trash rating. There's some lore
I'm
or
rating a slimy pile of goop out of like 10.
I think those are both trash ratings, which are fair.
yeah, like the trash rating is there's some lores or rules that can be salvaged for a better system, but most of it is utterly irredeemable. Which
Yeah, trash.
I mean,
think
yeah,
majority lies in just the fluff.
Oh
And
yeah,
there are
that is a
some
point. I
where they
absolutely
need
hated the mechanics. So yeah, I'm changing my playable to a trash. I did not like the mechanics.
like they were mechanics, but at the same time they worded them in the most confusing and irritating ways. So I
My
still can't
favorite
really
being
wrap
the
out how
sorry.
like, still can't wrap my head around how the game is actually supposed to be played.
So it's kind of a bootleg West End where you have dice pools of 6. But unlike the West End system, which actually makes sense, where each 6 is a success and then you have a certain number you have to hit over, instead of that, you get something far stupider, where you roll the dice pool and you only take the highest result. And if it's a 6, then you get a weird exploding dice situation where you can roll another and you can keep rolling as long as you get a 6, but only in those circumstances, and it does not apply to attack for some reason. And the only way to actually reliably, since there's only a 1 in 6 shot of ever getting a 6 to explode on, to hit people or do things is to use the color sphere, which adds like a +2, and then a chromatic weapon. Basically, you have to actually think about, and there's a lot of ifs and ands for something that was so loosely thought together. Like, I really feel like this was a one-day first draft, and maybe like a
Yeah.
shakedown session.
Uh-huh. I agree.
Yeah, never mind. I'm changing my rating to trash just because I liked the fluff. You can do some really hilarious like parodies of black metal albums and Cthulhu stuff, but no, the mechanics are shit.
yeah, I'm going with trash. Like it's not entertainingly bad enough to get a WISO. It's no Wraithulu.
That may be the biggest diss of all.
No Ray Thulu.
Imagine having that if like it somehow got it outside of actually got like a game box or something, and that was one of the comments on the outside.
It's no Wraithu. It's no Wraithu.
Kind of like that this Chinese bootleg Baby Geniuses 2 I saw where they had the quote, "This movie has no redeemable quality."
Well, I can
Yeah.
envision like if there was a ratings, this is no Wraithu, as said by Randall, and on the back it says featuring Dante from Devil May Cry 3. Oh yeah, Al, you never gave a rating.
It's just straight garbage. There's nothing. It's not like uniquely shit. It's just kind of shitty. Most of the fun comes from the fact of its hilariously inept lore.
That means that we're done. Oh, what are you gonna say?
Oh, yep. I found it. I found the curse.
Oh boy.
So should we bring this up?
Sure. I did spoil it a little bit an episode early, but let's actually read it out loud since this is his first post on rpg.net.
So after Darrick released this to predictable result, he went on to RPG.net back in like 2005 to defend
back when they
this.
just reviewed it too, like a little bit ago.
And
Comparatively.
his totally rational and well thought out response was to, well, let's just read it. Adam.
Okay, Hail Satan, Lord of the Pit, King of the Hell, Ruler of the Earth, Master of the Abyss! I open the unknowable doorways and touch the violet flame, drink the revitalizing blood and break the skulls of those who cross him or his brothers. I call upon the most vicious demons of hell to intervene. From this night forth, you will be plagued by self-doubt, weakness, failure, hopelessness, hunger, pain, loss, insecurity, and envy. Nothing can save you, and none will come to your aid. All who have befriended you will now desert you in your hour of need. In the name of the Ancient Ones, I curse those who tear down Empire of Satanis. May Satan have no mercy whatsoever upon your miserable souls. Hail Satan! So it is done.
And I like that.
What did I listen to?
Yeah, and I like the comment after it. As funny as it is to read, Darrick, for some scary reason, I don't think you're joking. Given your email, knock it off now, or I'll be forced to ban you. Okay?
He fucking cursed a web forum for making fun of his shitty game.
And their response is effectively, okay. They didn't fucking care. They didn't even find amusement. They're just like, okay.
God.
So, unfortunately, you know what I just realized to my eternal horror? I just realized that coming up is Earth Day.
No.
Oh.
I promised Tech Priest that we would do a book that is related to it's a White Wolf. It's related to Werewolf the Apocalypse, but
Book even I would be angry again.
Okay,
So in
so
other words, it's otherworld situations where almost everyone sits out except for a tech priest.
probably because unfortunately the next book is going to be Changing Breeds. Or a subtitle for that would be How I Find Cats Sexy and Want to Fuck Them by the author, who I forget, but I do know White Wolf made fun of them.
Oh boy, I think I'll have to sit this one out. You guys have fun with that.
How could you betray me?
But I will for sure be back for Confessions of a Part-Time Sorceress.
Al, can you hand me the Luger?
But yeah, I will join in.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to be there for that.
Fucking Confessions of a Part-Time Sorceress.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Earth
No.
Day.
Fuck you, Earth Day. And good night, everybody.
Good night.